Hi, I'm Nate, and you're watching Photolearningism. I wanted to do another versus match tonight between Krita and RawTherapee to see if we could pit the full features of Krita against the full features of RawTherapee and achieve the same result using the same picture, editing it in both programs, and see where we go. Let's get to it. Once again, I'm Nate. This is Photolearningism. Thank you so much for joining in. If this is your first time joining in, thank you so much. I do a lot of work on this channel to surface the cheap or free art technologies that I believe would have value for you. I focus a lot on open source, but I do focus again here or there on commercial products. So do go back and check out the other videos and see the ones that might grab your attention. But tonight, Krita, RawTherapee, let's do a quick comparison and a versus match to see where we go. So I did some recording of editing sessions previous to this. I just want to check through them with you, and I'll explain as we go. This particular run right now is in Krita. You may recognize the interface. I'm following my usual process, and I've discussed this in other videos. I discussed this in the collab video. The approach is very similar in the previous one. Go check it out. It's awesome. I'm pulling out the color by a variety of techniques that I've refined for myself. Whether this is the right way to do it or not, this is the way that works best for me in my workflow process. I'm intensifying the colors. I'm doing an overlay layer to really pull out the colors, and then I'm doing a black and white layer to really draw out the contrast and make it a really dramatic picture. One of the last things I usually do, and again I touched on this previously, is try to add a vignette. Krita does not have a good solution for that, so really your only option is to use the gradient with a transparent to black, and then I kind of find that that still makes parts of it too dark after I do it, so I got to go back like I'm doing right now and cut a hole in it, and then use Gaussian blur, and then also that with a combination of erasing the rough edges to really kind of achieve that vignette look. So that's what we're looking at right now, and there it is. That's the finished thing, and this is me attempting to save what I'm doing because I always forget to do that to the end. I'm not sure why that is, but there it is. So there's that. By the way, one of the recommended formats coming around, if you intend to do more with it, is to use the PNG, the PNG. I've kind of found that using JPEG coming out of Krita for whatever reason leaves it darker than when I started. I'm not sure why that is. If you have a tip about that, please let me know. I've had greater success using the PNGs, the PNGs. So this is the final result coming from Krita. We're hopping over now into RawTherapee, and I'm going to work my way through and attempt to achieve the same tonal result there. And again, also attempts to add in that same vignette filter on top. And what I will say, just while this is running and while you can watch what's happening here, there's a lot of different controls and a lot of different ways that you can enhance a picture in RawTherapee. You have so much control over the individual colors and their channels. You can edit them a lot of different ways. You can use kind of the line and grid approach. You can use the slider controls. A lot of them will achieve the same kinds of adjustments. You can do numerical in a lot of ways. So this is a very powerful and a very precise tool. And while I'll say that Krita has some of those, they're not this detailed and not this broken out. So RawTherapee really does give you so much control over all the aspects of the image that I have not found ways to do in Krita. Now, having said that, again, the object of this exercise was to say, can we achieve the same result? And I would say that yes, we can do that. You'll see me flip back and forth here a couple times because I'm trying to make sure that I get the kind of contrast and the kind of saturation that I'm hoping for. It's also referred to in RawTherapee as vibrance in some places. That's one way to pull out the saturation, among other things. And there I'm specifically looking at saturation using a curve control with multiple points. There were a couple places there where I kind of had to play around with getting points adjusted because that kind of threw me a little bit. It's, again, the tools are a little bit different, but they still work. I was trying to get rid of a point, I think, and that threw me for a moment, but you see me quickly recover. So here we're adding in the vibrance, the vignette effect, and that's much easier to work with in RawTherapee just because it's a lot more spelled out and there's a specific control for it. It's not like in Krita where you have to kind of do a brute force tactic. So that's much easier to employ and to accentuate your image without having that burden of, okay, well, in the middle or the bright point is going to get uncontrollably dark, because that's a problem in Krita when you use that approach. So you can see this getting really close. I'm trying to get the final pieces of it to try to get that little bit of like gritty effect that I get by using the black and white overlay. So we're getting very close to doing that by using different pieces of us here. Now, I'm not going to claim to be a super expert, really not even an expert in RawTherapee. I'm still learning a lot because, again, there's so much more control. You can just touch up in every single area. It's not so much like an alteration program, so understand the distinction in that Krita, while it does some of these pieces, it's geared towards digital painting. It's geared towards alteration and drawing and doing those things, and it does those things so well, by the way. So that's a really good use case for Krita. RawTherapee is really going to give you that full flexibility to control the color aspects. So hopefully that gives you a good example, a good demo of both those tools. I've touched on both of them in the past, but I really wanted to pit them together and try to give that exercise of, can we get the same result working with both ones in this case? Now, again, I wasn't doing alteration. I wasn't trying to get rid of something. And there are some masking techniques that you can do with art, which is a fork of RawTherapee. Go watch that video. It's awesome. So that's really kind of leaping outside the bounds of RawTherapee. But again, if your focus is more on those tonal aspects, the color and the contrast, and really pulling out the fine details, RawTherapee is an excellent choice for that. So go check it out. I'm going to have download links in the description below. I would love your feedback on this if this was helpful. If you'd like to know more about these things, again, there are the videos. Go and watch them. Thank you so much for joining. Give me a thumbs up if this was helpful. Subscribe and join the conversation. I love comments. I love interacting with all of you. And please do come back and continue to participate in this learning community that I'm hoping to build. Thank you so much. Have a good night.